For you diesel owners watching this video, I'm sure you're going to recognize what I have here on the bench. This is the fuel injection pump off an OM617 turbo diesel engine. These were the 5-cylinder turbo diesel engines that were built in the U.S. market from 1978 to 1985. And there's a couple issues you're going to have with these pumps. They tend to be very robust. A lot of people get really worried about their pumps when they're having problems. I think they may need to be overhauled. But in all the time that I have worked on these older Mercedes diesels, I've only had problems with 2 of these style of injection pumps. So if you're having problems with your engine, don't let anybody just tell you that, oh, you need a new injection pump, because these aren't cheap. Even getting them rebuilt is very expensive. One of the problems that you may run into is related to this part here. This is called the ALDA, A.L.D.A, or the altitude compensator. And this mounts right here on the top of the pump. And generally what happens with these is people will read on some forum that they got to adjust this to get the engine to run better, and they'll start cutting this little seal cap off and trying to turn the screw and turn the nut, and they'll break it. And once you do that, there's no way to fix this. It does have internally a metal diaphragm that you see here. That's generally not the problem. Most of the problems I've seen with these ALDAs is that someone has messed around with it. Either it's seized up with rust like this one here and they break it, or they break the stud off, and then it's not usable, it's not repairable. So you're going to have to go out and find a good used one, because you can't buy this new anywhere. So I want to show you a trick on getting these off. I just happened to discover this a while back, that the same wrenches that we sell for taking off the oil cooler hoses can be used to remove this ALDA right here. There are 2 nuts you have to get onto. I'm going to turn this so you can see it. You have this really big one here, which is a 27 millimeter or an 1/16 inch. And then you have this real narrow one, which is a 24 millimeter. Now you have to modify the wrench. You have to cut a wrench real thin, and it just so happens this is the wrench that we cut thin to hold onto those fittings on the side of the oil filter housing when you're reefing on the fittings for the oil cooler hoses. Now watch how nice that fits in there. See that? Goes right in there and grabs a hold of that 24 millimeter nut there. And then this is the short end that we include in the kit, and this will go on the big one. Now if you only have this wrench, you're going to need to get a pipe or a vice grip or something to get a little more torque on this, because generally you can't loosen it just with the short piece that you have there. So I'm just going to take another 1 1/16 inch wrench that we haven't modified yet and show you how this comes off. So I'm just going to work this wrench down inside here, get on that, and then I'm going to torque it that way. And then this is going to turn off by holding the big nut and spinning the ALDA off like this. Now you can see the big nut, and this pin does not come off unless you remove the plate, but generally the problem is not down in here. It's right here with this part. So if you find you need to install a replacement because of some problem you're experiencing trying to adjust the ALDA, keep in mind that the wrenches that we sell on my website that are used to remove and replace the oil cooler hoses on the OM617 engines will work to remove the ALDA on your injection pump. Now if you do run into a problem, from time to time we do have good used ALDAs available on my website if yours should fail on you and you cannot find a replacement.